the Joe Thomas half hour of the program. Hoff, where do we find you on this fine Monday, buddy?
Hey, guys. How's it going? I just landed in Las Vegas, Nevada. Sin City, baby.
Home away from home for you. Weren't you
Yeah,
there
that's
like a couple
where
weeks
he's
ago?
making movie magic. Tinseltown for
That's
Hoff.
right. That's right. I was here like about a month ago, and this time I'm out here because young Alex Mack, my best friend from the league, he's getting inducted in the College Football Hall of Fame tomorrow night. So coming out here to support him and celebrate with him and the family.
That's awesome.
That's very
Congrats,
cool.
Alex Mack.
Do they tie anything else into it, Hoff? Any other, do they hand out any awards, for current players this week out there, too?
That's a good question. I'm not exactly sure what else they'll be doing. I know that the Mack family's got a nice contingent out here, so we're going to be doing some stuff with them. But as far as at the actual award ceremony, ours was in New York when I got into the College Football Hall of Fame, and it was really just kind of focused on the guys being inducted into that Hall of Fame. But yet, I don't remember specifically. I bet Annie could probably tell you with more detail about if they gave out any other cool awards like lifetime achievements or stuff like that.
What does he think about? He went to Cal.
Yeah.
Now the defunct Pac-10, Pac-12. That's got to kill a guy like Alex Mack.
It's gone.
It's so sad.
Yeah, he's pretty sad, and Cal has been pretty sad for a while. And I think the sad part, really, for him, outside of what's happened with the Pac-12 and what's happened with all those teams on the West Coast, is that there's just an apathy around all those college fan bases. They're not getting fans to show up. They can't get TV money. Nobody really wants to even play in the games anymore. And it's it's kind of withering, unfortunately. With as strong as Big Ten football, SEC, ACC has gotten, I feel like we've taken that energy and the mojo from the fan bases out there, and it's pretty sad when you're an alumnus. You always want to have pride in your university and what they're doing, and really out there with Cal, they're doing nothing.
To prove Hoff's point, the guy who replaced Matt Campbell at Iowa State came from Washington State. He was there for 1 year. The athletic director at Iowa State said he didn't even ask him what the money was. He just said yes. And I would have argued 5 years ago Washington State's a better job than Iowa State. They've won Rose Bowls at Washington State, they've been to Rose Bowls. Iowa State's never won anything of consequence. But because they're not in a league.
A first overall pick and a second overall pick.
Oh, yeah.
At Washington State.
Yeah. And
in our lifetimes.
And they just haven't, without being a league, you don't have a chance. We'll
give them our congratulations and our regards.
Sure. We will. It's a pretty heralded class. I mean, Nick Saban's going in, Urban Meyer on the coaching side, Michael Vick, Michael Strahan, Elodie Nada, of course, Alex Mack. I mean, it's a strong class. College football classes are a lot larger, of course, than the Pro Football Hall of Fame. But
there's 40
a lot
people
of pretty
going.
recognizable. Yeah, it's a big class. I mean, a lot of guys in college football, but a lot of big names. It's a pretty cool class for him to be a part of.
Yeah,
That's
so
awesome.
the reason is it's a relatively new Hall of Fame, and so they have all of this catch-up work to do. They got to do some make goods.
Some make goods.
They have to do some make goods.
Well, the Hoff's been in for Años y Años.
Well, and of course, we were once told by someone here we couldn't call him the Hoff.
And we're like, no.
And we're like, actually,
We
he's
can.
going to be a Hoff.
Yeah,
first
first
of all.
ballot.
Gold jacket,
Easy.
first ballot. And
Easy.
also, he already is.
Yep.
Just so you know, he already is a Hoff. Buddy,
That's
what?
right.
That's right.
To set the record straight.
By the way, Hoff, want to give a shout out to you as well because you came in here. You were Meet Santa last week. Bo was able to enjoy it. And
Oh,
then
my God.
We had it on Saturday night with the great Dabo, my buddy in from Australia, and he was blown away. We declared the full blood Wagyu strip to be it's the world's champions. It was
so good, Hoff.
It broke my brain, in fact, how good it was. It was incredible. So that was the winner of the night, the Hoff beef, and we did blind. I blinded it for him, so I had the taster, so they didn't know. No bias, Now I will say that I think visually you could, if you were paying attention to the scores, you could have picked it out. I think just on sight because it is
it's obvious.
a special looking, some special beef. But he was blown away. I sent Hoff the pictures. Hoff, where were you at? You were out and about doing something. Oh, you were at a wedding, I think.
I'm having a hard time remembering where I started the morning. In here.
I think this past weekend you were at a wedding for one of the guys on the farm.
That's right.
Yes. Yeah.
Our head cattleman, Hayden Connor. He's a baby. He's 22. Got married this weekend in Muscadet, just down the road from the the farm, and we had the whole family there. It was quite a nice country shindig. But yeah, Z was sending me the photos.
Oh yeah.
And the thing that I liked, with this being a new thing for me, I'm like, hey, give me the unbiased, unvarnished feedback. I love the blind taste test. Tell me everything, right? Because we can change. We're trying to do better, just like as an athlete when I was playing, 1% better every day. And so getting that unvarnished feedback from you guys and knowing that the Hoff is still the world champ made warmed the heart.
And a couple
Busch Lights.
There's no doubt. There's
Couple
no
Busch
doubt.
Lights.
Yeah,
The
there's,
lineup
That's great.
that night.
there's no doubt at all.
We did it too. We did I made it for the family and cut it up and tried. And the strip was unbelievable. I think that's where you really taste it.
Yes.
Is in that. I think that's where you can really tell the difference. It was really remarkable, Hoff. And the meat sticks are all gone. They're all gone. The kids sucked through those in 48 hours. So I'm gonna have to order.
What
a
did they
re-up
think
on
of that
those
apple
babies.
cheddar?
You never had anything like it. I mean,
No,
they
there's
just have
nothing like
everything
it.
like the
No,
apple cheddar.
no.
It's such a delight. And the jerky, they love the jerky too. All of those things were winning. So, they will be staples, my friend. Hopefully, winning becomes a staple for this franchise at some point. It seems like we're a
What a
ways off from that
transition.
now.
The transition, dude. It's
Let's go glasses half full, Hoff. Glasses half full. You had a quarterback make some throws. Joe Flacco had some throws in some games like this in 2023. Jameis had a couple of games like this last year. But this was a big spot for Shedeur, and he played really well and made some massive throws in this one. And Hoff, what Z and I were talking about in the first hour is every week he gets a little better at something else. Like he takes the coaching and gets better the next week. I think it's a real bright spot for this team. What was your impressions of what you saw from him in start number 3?
I think it's safe to call this a breakout game for Shedeur because, I mean, we've kind of seen that steady progress, which is obviously what you want. And I think that the danger is he was a 5th-round pick, but there's so many people on the outside, especially, that still in their mind have him as like the number 1 pick. Like, well, yeah, he wasn't number 1, but he should have been. And so he's almost like graded and has expectations as if he's the number 1 pick, but he's a 5th-round guy. He's coming in the middle of the year. He hasn't had the experience playing with the ones, going against the ones in training camp. And so, like, it's all very fresh for him. And so to see the progress that he's making from week to week is really incredible. And I think it gives great hope to the organization. It gives great hope, certainly, to the offense. And to have a breakout game like this where he's doing more of the thing that people saw from him in college that wanted him to be the number 1 pick, which is when it's a big moment, he makes great decisions and he rises to the occasion. It's never too big for him. And I think that's the thing that probably more than anything made the Browns say, we got to take this guy. I know we already took a quarterback in the 3rd round, and we got 2 first-round picks next year. But when you're a player that can rise above the situation and when big-time plays are called for in big moments, you deliver, that raise the level of play of all the guys that are around you. Like, that's what all the great quarterbacks throughout history have always done. And that's what Shedeur did in this game. And it was so fun to be able to watch that, to watch him progress and to grow and mature. And I know everybody else on the team maybe always wasn't pitching in, but to see a guy that had some opportunities and made the most of it when it was a big game for him and the game was on the line and he got what they needed, right? Like, I think back to like the Bradys and the Manning and the guys today, like the Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, they get you what you need when you need it. And to me, that's the defining characteristic of a franchise quarterback. And we saw that from Shedeur yesterday.
Yeah, and he was willing, Hoff, when you watch some of the best throws of the day, he was willing to stand in the pocket and deliver the football and take big hits. He was hit 14 times in this game, 14 quarterback hits the Titans had, and yet he was able to operate the throw to Fannin where he got absolutely crushed. It was one of the better throws you'll see in the league this week. It was one of the better throws you'll see, honestly, this year.
Absolutely.
What does that do for the guys kind of in the huddle and for this team to see him? And he did this at Colorado, but just take those hits, get back up, and just deliver the football and go about his business.
Well, I think it's so important because, right, you really don't have any pelts on the wall at this point when you're a rookie. And sometimes you come in as a guy who's very heralded from college, played with a lot of rookie quarterbacks that had great careers, that won Heisman's in college, and they come in and there's a little bit of like, all right, that's great that you did everything in college and you're, big stuff, but hey, you're a rookie right now. You're on the bottom of the totem pole. So prove it to me, make me want to believe in you and to follow you, because that's what a great quarterback has to do. And he did that. And I think one of the ways you can do that is standing in there and showing toughness when it's necessary. When you know that big hit's coming and you have to deliver the football because the game depends on it and you're willing to take that hit, like that is the type of play that makes guys believe in you in that offense, that raises their level of play because now all of a sudden you've built a belief in yourself as the quarterback and in those guys that are playing for you that are thinking, hey, man, we got a guy right there. We better hold up our end of the bargain because he's going to do his. And I think, being willing in smart situations like that to take those big hits, to bounce back, to make those plays, that last touchdown run when nothing was available, to put your head down and run through contact and get into the end zone. Like, he's showing that winning is important, and that's the only thing that matters for him. And when you do that, that's how you get those guys to start playing as a team to get the most out of everybody around you.
Yeah, and you can see the belief. I just think the growth and the belief and all of it, like he's just getting
Week
better
to
and
week.
better each week. I think that's really noteworthy with this team. And today Kevin announced, obviously, he's the starter for the rest of the way. What's next, Hoff? What do you want to see? And by the way, the competition amps up bigly. Next three are all playing for massive stakes in terms of the opponent. And starting with Chicago, obviously, as this competition amps up, and as the teams are playing for more of the opposition, what do you want to see as the next progression for him?
Well, I'd like to continue to see, obviously, the growth that we've seen across the board, right? He's not taking the sacks. He's not drifting in the pocket. He's quicker with his decision makings. He's not paralyzed when they're showing blitz. He's able to start to see the defense and make sure that they're in the right play, like all those leadership things, all those things that are really important for a rookie quarterback. But really what I'd love to see is just eliminate some of the big major bad plays, right? And I think that's a natural progression for a rookie quarterback. He had one amazing throw to Jerry Jeudy, that 60-yard touchdown or a 60-yard bomb. It was awesome, right? But then you've got a really bad interception where it was just shouldn't have been thrown, and I get it. As you're trying to speed up your progression and how you're seeing the defense, like you're getting a quicker trigger, and maybe sometimes that's happening before you really see the picture clearly. But what I would love to see is as these defenses are getting tougher here with the final 4 games of the season, and they got a lot to play for, and it's going to be more challenging and a lot trickier, like just minimize some of those major bad plays and continue to do the things he's doing across the board. So, I mean, if he can do that and he can play not mistake-free, because that's not a fair assessment, but just continue to limit the number of mistakes he's making and do all the other things he's been doing, I mean, you're going to be feeling really, really good down the stretch of the season because he's a fun quarterback to watch. He's a fun quarterback to cheer for, and he's making a great case for himself to be the franchise quarterback moving forward.
Here's the thing I liked, and Bo talked about it, that week-to-week improvement, stop running out of the back after the Ravens game, out of the back of the pocket. He's done a good job. He's climbing the pocket now pretty consistently. You've got to go ahead and be, willing to rip it over the middle of the field. You've got to be anticipatory and throw it. That was a big point of emphasis this week. We saw it. I mean, that ball to Jeudy is as good a ball as you're going to see. And so I thought that there was a ton of improvement that we saw, from him in this game. And I it's very encouraging. These are big numbers. And down the stretch, 10 of 13 on those last 2 drives when you needed it the most. Yeah. I mean, that's real stuff. And he did a good job as a runner as well. I thought his ball placement was excellent. I mean, it was all the things that you'd really wanted and hoped to see. And it gives you, I think, a lot of hope if you're the Cleveland Browns that, man, maybe we've got our guy. How big are the next 3 games to you, Hoff, where you're looking at 3 teams that are fighting for their playoffs lives, the Bears, the Bills, and the Steelers? And, what do you want to see over those games that tell you, yeah, let's get this guy a tackle. Let's get this guy another stud wide receiver here in the first round next year. And let's let Shedeur Sanders be the guy, get all the work, and let's see what he can become.
Yeah, I mean, these are huge, obviously, because he's set himself up where the table now is set, where if he plays great in these last 4 games, he's made a great case for being that guy next year and building around him. And the thing that I'm most excited for is that he's put himself in position. There's no controversy or conversation now about going back to Dylan Gabriel or doing anything else at that position because he set the table. But you're going to have to see that steady growth. And I'm not wanting to be pessimistic at all, but I really want to see enough growth that it's a vote of confidence without a doubt. Yes, let's get him some more guys around him. Let's get him weapons. Let's make him the number one guy so he has all of off season, all of training camp to be that leader, to be the person that's running all the first team reps. The thing I'm nervous about is if he kind of goes sideways and then it's like not a clear and obvious answer if he is the guy or not. And as a 5th round pick, it's different than being a 1st round pick. 5th round picks, unfortunately, in this league, they're a bit expendable. And so you don't feel like you've already invested good money in a guy like that. So I really want to see him playing well. I want to make sure that their offensive line is able to protect for him and give him the time he needs to show us that he is that franchise quarterback.
All right, time for the Trench Report presented by Big Fig, the mattress made for more, crafted in Cleveland, just like our Browns. Offensive line, even more of a mash unit now. We've known about Teller and now Posick out for the year with an Achilles. Luke Whippler will slide in there. We knew that this was going to be a massive offseason for the offensive line anyway, Hoff. When you're in this type of a situation where you have all of the injuries that we have already, what are you looking for from that group here, especially in the next couple of weeks? Obviously, the run game blocking has been a bit of a problem here in recent weeks for sure. What are you seeing up front? What do we hope to see going forward?
Well, you lost your center, Posick, who was one of your better offensive linemen. Joel's still in there, thankfully, but then after that, you're dealing with all backups. And, our tackle play with Cam Robinson and KT Leviston has not been great. Wyatt's been out. So with Luke Whippler now moving in at center, you got a lot of fresh faces in there. And every time I've been in a situation like that where I've got a lot of young guys around me, a lot of new guys, it's like, all right, I understand that picking up the blitz is going to be a challenge. We got to do our best. I understand one-on-one pass pro is going to be a challenge. A lot of that is art. It's not a science. It's not something you can just tough yourself through or try harder to get better at it. Like, you have to be under control. You have to be focused. You have to know when to deliver the strikes and give them everything you got. You have to know when to be patient. Like, those are really tough things. But the thing you can control is how hard you play, how tough you play, how you smash somebody in the face. And getting back to being able to efficiently run the football with Quinshon Judkins, I think is so crucial, because then it doesn't put you in those bad situations where you have to sit back and pass protect with a group of guys up front that haven't been very experienced doing that and frankly are not very good at it. So I think figuring out, all right, we're going to run the ball. We have to be the most physical unit on the field whenever we're out there, and we have to hit these guys in the mouth and make them not want to come back in the second half. You can do that, and you can change and you can dictate the tempo, the momentum, the style of play from that defensive line if you're beating them up on the run game, but you have to be efficient, because if you're not efficient, they're not going to keep running the football. So for those guys this week, it's all about toughness. It's all about beating them up, smashing them in the face, and trying to impose your will on the defensive line so that your offensive coordinator has no choice but to continue to call run games.
What's interesting about this, Hoff, and this is something that I think people need to understand, out of the running backs that have at least 125 carries, there's basically one for every team. There's 32 of them. Quinshon Judkins this year ranks 9th in yards after contact per carry. He ranks 7th overall in yards after contact. But, like, to give an example, he has 700 yards after contact. He's rushed for 784 yards. Let that sink in. The other guys in the 700s, Derrick Henry has 724 yards after contact. He's got 1,025 yards. James Cook has 769 after contact. He's got 1,308 yards. James Cook, Derrick Henry, they don't even average as many yards after contact as Quinshon Judkins per carry.
Crazy.
So guys that are around him in terms of 700 they all have between 1,000 and 1,300 yards rushing, and here's Quinshon Judkins at 784. He has the highest percentage of his yards after contact in the NFL. What are you seeing? Because I know you talked about the mentality and all of that, but the fact of the matter is this guy does not get to the line of scrimmage often. In fact, he's getting on average 0.4 yards down the field before taking contact, whereas Derrick Henry's a yard and a half. James Cook is 2.2 yards on average before he takes contact. Most of the top running backs, it's well over a yard, yard and a half to 2 yards downfield. So what's happening? Because that feels really bad.
Well, it is really bad. I mean, the bright spot is, hey, we got this rookie running back, and he's breaking tackles, and he's making yards, and he's doing an amazing job. He's more than we expected when we drafted him. The downside is our blocking has just not been very good. There is obviously way too many free runners. There's too many missed assignments. There's guys that are putting their heads on the wrong part of the block, and they're allowing the defensive lineman to get off because, I always say that as an offensive lineman, our job is to get them 4 yards down the line of scrimmage, right? We can control the 5 or 6 guys that are in the box. And then beyond that, it's up to the running back and the receivers to make those blocks. But we have to get him to the line of scrimmage and get his feet through the feet of the defensive lineman without being touched to really have a chance. And so it's remarkable in good on how well Quinshon is doing without not having any blocking, and it's remarkable in bad with how poorly the offensive line has blocked in the run game and opened up those lanes for a guy who clearly is a physical back that wants the football, that is the type of running back that you love to block for as an offensive lineman, and you want to see him showing him some more love by opening up some more holes for that guy, because imagine what he would look like if he was getting a yard and a half, 2 yards down the field on average before he made contact with anybody.
All right, Hoff. One of the things you used to say about, offensive line, they're like mushrooms, be in the dark, nobody say their names, all of that. I've come to the point now where that's all I want special teams to be. I don't want to talk about special teams. I just want them, because I feel like if we're not talking about it, at the worst, it's neutral, Another blocked punt that, plays into what now is this whole 2-point controversy and all of these things. How can this keep happening week after week after week?
Well, I guess I don't have a great explanation.
No.
Other than to say it's unacceptable. Seen and not heard is how you want your special teams unit. I played there when Josh Cribbs was there, and we saw them a lot, and it was usually good things, right? Great returns, big plays, big hits running down on kickoff coverage or punt coverage. But, to have a unit that you expect to have no mistakes through the season, that's kind of like your goal. All right, we're not going to have any turnovers, and we're not going to allow any really big, long returns, and that's our expectation. It doesn't always happen. There's going to be a time here or there that, somebody comes free and you get a block kick, or somebody has a long return because somebody on the coverage unit leaves his lane. But to have it consistently happen, it's a travesty right now, and it's something that you have a hard time putting your finger on, because it's like it's almost hard to imagine that you could have so many busts on special teams when this is clearly something that they have to have been emphasizing, because it's been bad all year long, and it's cost us games, and it cost us another game on Sunday. And we talked about last time I was on how some coaches, especially defensive coaches, like putting their starters on those units because they can trust those guys, even though it wears them out a little bit more. Like, they're so important to not make those mistakes that you want to put those guys out there that are reliable. And clearly the guys that we have out there right now are either not being coached well enough or they're not executing well enough. And as the Bill Parcells, the great coach, used to say, both are a problem, and you have to fix it by either removing one or the other, because the combination ain't working right now. And unfortunately, the special teams unit cannot live like this any longer. It's not like they're trying fake punts and fake field goals and not successful. I mean, they're just trying to execute the basic stuff, and it's not possible. I mean, this is stuff that you should be able to do at the high school and college level, and we're consistently struggling with very basic things. And so, I mean, if I had to guess, okay, maybe communication's part of it. Maybe it's the preparation of the players that are in there, but you got to make a change and figure out, if that guy can't do it, we need to find somebody that can. And maybe that means putting in some of these starters and spending a little bit more time during practice. I get it. You got a lot of things to work on. You got a rookie quarterback on offense. You don't want to take time from his opportunity in practice to run our plays against the scout defense. But if it means coming out early or cutting out one of the team plays or team periods and emphasizing more special teams time on the field, like, they got to do it, because you can't just keep having these big returns and fumbles on punt return and then allowing block punts. Like, these are just things that can't happen once in a season, much less reoccurring the way it is this season.
If we started this talking about the fact that you're in Las Vegas to honor former teammate Alex Mack as he goes into the College Football Hall of Fame. You mentioned he's one of your best friends in the sport. What can you tell us? Is there a story? I guess maybe when did you realize that he was great, that he had this type of career in him that eventually gets him into the College Football Hall of Fame?
Well, I think from day one you realize that this guy has the attitude of a golden retriever, where it's like he's going to fetch that ball and he dies, or until the master stops throwing it, because that was his nickname when he was here, and then he went to Atlanta with Kyle Shanahan, and he was just the guy that was the ultimate teammate, right? He would have been the world's greatest Navy SEAL, because if anybody told him run through that wall, climb up and go kill bin Laden, like he's like, yes, sir, should I show up? Like, I've never seen Alex where he gave up because he was too tired or he didn't like what he was doing. He was just the perfect teammate in every respect. And I'll give you a brief story, but when he was a rookie, Eric Mangini was the head coach, and his way to punish players for false starts, for fumbles and things like that was to make them take a lap, right? Of course, everybody hated it. It felt like it was high school, but Alex was like, all right, I'm going to take a lap, but reps are too important for me. And so I've never seen this before. I mean, the dude was running like a 55-second 400-meter dash in between plays because he had a lot of fumbles. He was having a hard time with the snap count, and so he was fumbling the snap a lot, the center quarterback exchange. But he would finish the play, and he knew, hey, I fumbled it or I screwed something up, and he would start his lap full speed. And fans that were at training camp would remember it, because it was like the attraction why people would come to training camp back then when he was a rookie, because he would run that thing like he was Usain Bolt coming around the field, and he would get back into the huddle and he'd be ready for the very next play. And it was just amazing to see that level of effort. And then on the next play, he'd be running 40 yards down the field, finishing his block. And so it was just an incredible level of effort he played with. He was so smart and cerebral. He understood technique, and he's a guy that at 320 pounds could do the splits. I mean, he had everything you want in the center, and that's a big reason why Kyle brought him to Atlanta, and then Kyle brought him to San Francisco, and he played 13 years and played amazing. And I forget what year it was in Cleveland, but the guy had appendicitis, played the game. The next week was the bye week. Then he had surgery, laid on the couch for 10 days, and then like 2 days before the game, they taped him up, and he went out and he played, and he never missed a snap. It was truly remarkable, just the commitment and dedication that guy had to his brothers on the offensive line, to his teammates, and to the game of football.
7-time Pro Bowler, 3-time second-team All-Pro, Hall of Fame, member of the Hall of Fame's All-Decade team for the 2010s. And his point right there, at the age of 36, plays his final season in San Francisco with Kyle, his only season he played with Kyle in San Francisco after being with him in Atlanta for 5, and he makes the Pro Bowl in his final season at the age of 36.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Hey, man, enjoy it, Hoff.
Oh, and by the way,
go ahead.
Oh, thank you. One more thing as we're giving Alex his flowers. I remember Annie and I went down to the Super Bowl that Atlanta played in, obviously
with a broken leg,
where they lost to the Patriots. The broken leg, hit a broken leg. We went to dinner with him. We got in like Saturday or Friday. So Friday before the game, and he was on crutches. We went to dinner with him. He's like crutching in the restaurant, and I'm like, dude, how are you going to play in like 3 days in the Super Bowl? Not like playing in the third game of the season against the Jacksonville Jaguars. No, we're playing in the Super Bowl. And he's like, well, they're just going to shoot it up, and I'm going to go out there and play. And like, jeez. God bless you, man. There are a few people that have ever walked the face of the earth as tough as Alex Mack.
Let me ask you this, Hoff, because obviously he's able to overcome it, and he's always there. Is he making his great return to turkey camp this year? Because I know last year I think he had to be in like Ireland.
Yes. Yeah. His wife's from Dublin, and so he had to be out there. But he will be making his return. He doesn't have a choice, and I can't wait to bring him back because he's always one of the stars, right? Just like he was on the football field, he was always up for anything. At turkey camp, he's your boy. He's always up for anything, and he never says no to anything. And I just love that youthful joy that he has, and he puts into everything he does in life. It's just fun to be around guys like that. He's not like Z and like you, Bo, right? Like, you just like being around those people that just say yes to everything and then just want to have fun. They're just there. Yes. We're here for a good time, not a long time.
Not that fun. Absolutely.
Hey, man, enjoy it. Enjoy Vegas. I know that you will. We'll talk to you soon.
I appreciate it, guys. Have a great day.
All right, there he is, the Joe Thomas half-hour Hall of Fame beef for your holiday needs. They're there for you on that.